class.
We were trying to get to Ramadi. Instead, we came across shell-shocked families ISIS had just assaulted in the morning from the east. As a security measure, cars are not allowed to cross this bridge, but this is the only way to reach Baghdad. Those fleeing the violence pile their belongings, children and elderly, into metal carts. Samira Ibrahim starts crying the moment we approach her. They took our homes and kicked us out, she sobs. For weeks, officials and forces in Ramadi have been warning of this, begged for reinforcements and airstrikes, but to no avail. And it's not just Ramadi where people are pleading for help. Between the bridge and Ramadi is Amriyat al-Fallujah. Police Chief Major Arif al-Janabi points out the ISIS positions.
So ISIS back in that tree line about a kilometer.
We need coalition support, al-Janabi states. He's been sending ISIS position coordinates to the Joint Command Center, but there have been no significant strikes or reinforcements. Why? He doesn't know. ISIS attacks regularly. The hospital exterior scarred with shrapnel. Inside, Ahmed Hassan, a tribal fighter, shot by a sniper in this last assault on Ramadi. The bullet just missed his heart. We didn't leave a single person we didn't call and ask for backup, he says. Upstairs, a woman wounded in the town 2 days ago. I was out in the garden and a rocket hit and the shrapnel sliced me, Amal Ahmed says, tears falling from her eyes. I felt something fall out of me and I put it back in. A few moments later, while we're in another building, ISIS attacks.
There was just a massive explosion. I'm not sure exactly what it may have been a rocket or a mortar of sorts. They think there's more?
The impact shattered the glass. More explosions in the distance, and then another that shakes the building.
They're clearing a way for us to get to the cars.
We are lucky. We are able to leave, and we don't have to make the impossible choice of living under bombardment and ISIS terror, or suffer the indignities of life as a refugee. And if help does not arrive, many more will end up like this.
So it wasn't premeditation. You don't.
No.
You can't say this wasn't premeditated.
I can't say with 100% certainty that he premeditated that while I was sitting in that jury room. I can't say that.
But you do see extreme atrocity or cruelty.
I see extreme atrocity and cruelty.
Was it what the number of shots?
It was his indifference, and that was part of what I had to look at. And it was even if there was no premeditation, he could have made choices there when he was there. He was there. They admitted that, and he could have made different choices, and he chose not to.
I think one thing in that regard that surprised a lot of us was that indifference, and we watched the video footage at his home later in the morning or early afternoon after the incident occurred, and he was just lounging around by the pool and playing with the baby and just going about his regular life. I mean, you know, for us to have knowledge that he was there at the time that his close friend was murdered, personally, there's no way I could just carry on hours later like nothing ever happened. That's indifference.
So those videotapes, in particular his own security camera tapes, were crucial.
Hours later.
Yeah.
Hours later.
But in the instructions, we weren't asked to use that after the murder to weigh our decision, to leave your friend on the ground. Knowing that he's not there anymore. He's either dead or he's going to die. That's indifference. He didn't need to pull the trigger. He could have made different choices when that man was lying there.
Extreme cruelty. How did some of you else? I'm sorry to not know all of your names right away because I like to, but so I hate to be sort of saying you all, so please don't think I'm rude, but were there other signs to you of extreme cruelty? Or
For me, it was, somebody had mentioned that, well, it was a gun. So for me, trying to think about extreme cruelty, what are we talking about? Are we talking about somebody physically cutting off someone's arm and letting them bleed to death? Is that extreme cruelty? Or is it the fact that, for me, it was a gun? You took a weapon, it didn't matter. You shot him once, but you kept going and you shot him 6 times. There's just no need for that. And there's no need to use the gun, period. No need to use the gun. So for me, and on my personally, it was about the gun. It was about taking that weapon, knowing what you're going to do, and shooting somebody and killing them. That's pretty cruel.
One shot was enough for me. There was no need for the other 5. One shot for me is cruelty. Anybody who can pick up a gun, point it to someone and shoot them is cruelty.
And it didn't have to be him. It didn't.
Right.
It didn't
have to be him.
do you feel like he did pull the trigger, or do you don't?
I don't know. There's no evidence to support that he pulled the trigger. But he chose not to do anything about it. And
In
he's
that
the one
moment
had the
or in the
relation-
aftermath?
Exactly. And in that moment is what I was looking at, because that's what I was instructed to do in that moment.
He played a role.
Yeah.
Whether he was the shooter or the transport, he played a role in that murder, and that's what he was charged with.